Hey everyone, before we dive in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more stories like this. I used to believe that love could survive anything, that if two people truly cared, they'd find their way back, no matter how lost they became. But that illusion shattered the night I heard my wife whisper another man's name. Not to me, but to someone on the phone when she thought I was asleep. Her name was Melissa, and for 4 years she'd been my reason to keep going. I worked late shifts, skipped nights out, and built our small home piece by piece, believing I was building a future for us. But lately something had changed. The warmth in her voice had turned cold, her laughter had become distant, and the bed we once shared now felt like a battlefield of silence. I remember one evening, she came home smelling like someone else's perfume. I asked where she'd been. She smiled faintly and said, "Just drinks with coworkers." But her eyes, those eyes that once told me everything, couldn't meet mine. That night I stayed awake, staring at the ceiling, wondering if I'd already lost her and just hadn't accepted it yet. The next few weeks were filled with subtle betrayals. Text messages she'd hide, sudden business dinners, phone calls taken in the bathroom. I didn't want to believe it. Maybe she was just tired, maybe I was paranoid. But deep down, something inside me whispered, "You already know." So I did what any broken man desperate for the truth would do. I bought a small voice recorder. I hid it under the couch where she liked to sit during her late-night calls. For days I tried not to think about it, tried to convince myself I wouldn't find anything. But when I finally pressed play, my hands went numb. Her voice filled the room, soft and affectionate, but not for me. She laughed, she flirted, she talked about how he made her feel alive again. Then came the part that broke me completely. "He's nothing like Adam. He's exciting. I feel wanted again." That night I sat there alone in the dark, listening to every word. The woman I loved had already left me. Her body was home, but her heart belonged somewhere else. And for the first time I didn't cry. I didn't shout. I just went quiet. Because silence, I realized, was the loudest answer she'd ever get from me. The next morning, she woke up like nothing had happened. She asked if I wanted coffee, humming softly as she poured herself a cup. I watched her from across the table, the woman I'd once thought I couldn't live without, and felt absolutely nothing. That realization hit harder than any betrayal ever could. I didn't confront her right away. No, that would have been too easy for her. I wanted her lies to unravel on their own. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done, slowly, quietly, and inescapably. So I started pretending I still cared. Pretending I didn't already know. For 2 weeks I played along. I smiled when she smiled. I kissed her cheek when she left for work dinners. I even told her she looked beautiful before she walked out the door. And she did, but not for me. Each time she left, I added another piece to my plan. I took the recording and saved it in multiple places, my phone, my email, a backup drive. Then I created a small compilation of every moment that confirmed the affair. The late-night calls, the laughter, the excuses. I added the final audio file at the end, the one where she said she didn't feel wanted anymore. It wasn't about revenge. It was about clarity. I wanted to make sure she heard herself the way I had, unfiltered, raw, unforgivable. One night she came home late again. I was sitting in the living room, calm, a faint smile on my face. She asked, "You're still up?" I said, "Yeah. Thought we could watch something together." She shrugged and sat down, scrolling through her phone, pretending to care. I reached for the remote, turned on the TV, and pressed play. The screen went black for a few seconds, then her own voice echoed through the room. Her smile faded instantly. At first she tried to laugh it off, saying, "What is this?" But when she heard her own words, "He's exciting. I feel wanted again," her laughter died. She turned to me, pale and shaking. "Adam, what did you do?" I didn't say anything. I just let the silence choke her. The room filled with her voice again. Her secrets, her betrayal, her confession. When it ended, I stood up and said calmly, "Now you know what I've been hearing every night." She began to cry, reaching for me, saying she could explain, that it wasn't what it sounded like. But her voice didn't matter anymore. I'd already heard enough to last a lifetime. She tried to speak through her tears, her hands trembling as she reached out for me, but I stepped back. For years I'd chased her affection, begged for her honesty, and fought for a love that was already dead. Not this time. I looked at her, mascara running down her face, eyes wide with guilt, and felt an eerie calm settle inside me. Adam, please, she whispered. I made a mistake. It didn't mean anything. I smiled faintly. Funny thing about mistakes, I said quietly. They don't happen for months at a time. They're not something you whisper about in the dark or plan between meetings. She sank to the couch, hiding her face in her hands, sobbing as if her pain could erase what she'd done. I walked past her, opened the drawer, and pulled out a small envelope. Inside were the divorce papers I'd already prepared a week ago. I placed them on the table. Her eyes widened when she saw them. You already decided this? I decided the moment you stopped being mine, I said. I just wanted to make sure you heard yourself first. For a moment, the only sound in the room was her crying. Then she stood up, her tone turning desperate, almost angry. You can't just walk away after everything we've built. You can't end it like this. But I already had. I picked up my jacket, looked around the house, the one I'd poured my soul into, and realized it wasn't home anymore. It was a graveyard of memories. Every picture on the wall, every little note she'd once written, felt like a lie carved into time. She followed me to the door, begging, swearing it was over with him, that she'd do anything to make it right. But love doesn't return once it's been poisoned. I opened the door and said softly, You had your chance to fight for us. Now I'm fighting for myself. The look on her face as I walked out was something I'll never forget. A mix of shock, regret, and realization that she'd finally lost the one person who still saw something good in her. In the weeks that followed, I didn't check on her. I didn't answer her calls. I didn't even look back. For once in my life, I chose peace over pain. I moved into a small apartment across town, started fresh, and rediscovered what it meant to breathe without waiting for lies. Sometimes late at night I think about that recording, how her voice once cut through me like glass. But now it's just a reminder that no matter how much you love someone, you can't save them from their own choices. And as for Melissa, I heard she tried reaching out to me months later. I never replied. Some stories don't deserve a second chapter.